Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning. It is Saturday morning and my camera's crooked and I'm headed into the shop today. So, let's see, what do we got on tap for today? Not a whole lot, just running the shop and just dealing with stuff as it comes in. Last night, right before I fell asleep, I finally noticed, I don't know if it's been up for a bit or they just started this series of commercials for our local telephone, internet, now fiber company. C-Spire, who we've been a customer of for before they were C-Spire, while they were a different company, and now they're like kind of huge in the South, but or Mississippi anyway. And in fact, there's a C-Spire. There's a C-Spire store right there. Where is it? Where'd it go? Right there. So yeah, them. I noticed the commercial that they shot in Fondren that I talked a little bit about on Twitter when it was happening. Like, you know, live tweeted it, you know, and posted a few photos of the mass production of filming that they did. But I couldn't post some stuff because I was under a confidentiality agreement, which I guess once the movie, like we've done them for movies and all that around the area many times, and the help and the hollers and what was that other one? There were two other commercials and then a private shoot of some kind. But anyway, yeah, once it gets aired, I guess that releases us from the confidentiality, so I can show photos of like behind the scenes that I got, and I put together a few clips, and hopefully I didn't delete them, but I'll see if I can do that here.
At C-Spire, I work for Emily. With her unlimited plan, she doesn't always use that much data. So we created unlimited with cash back on your bill. Now on months that Emily uses less data, she gets cash back. That's like C-Spire buying her a movie ticket one month, a car wash the next, and then lunch. Unlimited is even better with cash back on your bill. We work for Emily, and C-Spire works for you. C-Spire, customer inspired.
Anyway, so that is the commercial and how the scenes look behind the scenes, or the area that it's in, because in the commercial it like flashes by so fast you can't really tell unless you're very familiar with the area. You can't really tell where it's filmed or, you know, any of that. So anyway, that's what happened there, and I'm going, oh damn, I wish they'd get done with this road. So I'm gonna get in the shop and see what we got on tap, and probably have some straightening and stuff that I'm gonna have to do. But other than that, we will see y'all in a little bit. All right, been in the shop for a couple hours. It's like 10:30 now. Oh no, it's closer to 11. And just went and got me some coffee from Sneaky Beans, which was in that video earlier. And messy counter, I'm not really doing anything with that. I've taken some stuff in from my truck. You'll see I've parked sideways out there. And not sideways, but reverse. And I've got all my tool bags from in the truck. So this is actually a tool bag cleaning. And my goal is to reduce one of these bags, and it's going to be this biggest bag that is almost empty here. But you can't see. The biggest bag. It's the biggest bag. Yeah, right now nothing's in there except for a fairly clean paper towel. What's a napkin? Let's throw that out. And some scrap metal. Strike plates. And screws. So we're gonna get all the scrap metal out, move it to where it needs to go. Put the scrap metal in the scrap metal. Then dump out the debris. And probably discontinue use of this bag in the truck because I don't really need it. So I'm going to throw that in scrap and go dump it out. Make sure I don't have any tools in the side pockets. This was a decent bag, or is a decent bag. McGuire Nicholas had it for a while, and it hadn't dry rotted, which usually happens to bags after age. Fairly decent bag. Don't see them for sale anywhere, but I think I got it at a big box store. So it will get put aside for some other use. And okay, I'll get back to this for a minute. So I don't really keep a whole lot in this bag. Let's get some of this stuff out the way. This is empty. It needs to be put to use. Alright, this is a great little 8 compartment, 6 compartment bag. Good for doing locks on doors, like you can do one door, one door, one door. When you're taking them off, it helps if you have like a bunch of different hardware. So now I'm just throwing away. So there's some drill bit packages. Alright, there's some white screws that go on our security strips. We can keep those accessible. Oh, wiser. This is my hollow wall anchor. Not hollow wall anchor, but for mag locks, the little things that compress in aluminum doors. I'm missing a part here, looks like. Go across it, garbage. More key tags. Aluminum. Got, that's obviously from an installation. Just debris from working on job sites. Oh, phone's ringing. That's going to stop the video. Back up a little bit. I know you can't see into that bag, but I'll be pulling junk out. So now we're down to the scrap metal. We've got broken latches and strike plates that were removed. Some of these may still be good, like that Schlag plate. So basically I go through and throw out the good ones, or throw out in scrap metal, I might say. Throw out the, see that latch is broken there. That's a shame too, because that's one of those smaller diameter quickset latches. That's a valuable latch. Used on bar doors. Ew. You don't cry. Strike plates. Strike plates. That's a good one. Strike plate screws. Garbage, garbage, plastic garbage. You don't want to get plastic in your scrap metal because that'll piss off the yard guys who have to deal with it. So basically I'm just pulling out the good screws that are still in here before I dump everything. A nail. Don't use nails. Locksmiths don't use nails for a whole lot of nothing. And actually I'm going to save these little plates here because they are part of some deadbolts that I'm going to sell, refurbished deadbolts. And I'm going to sell those for cheap to people who need a cheap deadbolt. So screws, scrap metal, these are the little metal knockout plates from security strips. And again, just some good screws there. A lot of small screws in this bag. So, looks like all of these get thrown out. No, not all of them. There's a good one right there. No, that's not a good one. So basically the point of this story is don't use small screws in your strike plates. These are all removed unless it is not like an interior type door. Some people made some comments on my deadbolt installation on the interior stairway door about how I use short screws and a weird strike plate. Well, yes, that's because the deadbolt came with that weird strike plate and short screws, and it was not a security issue. It was to keep pets and a kid from going upstairs. So just to point out the fact that some deadbolts can use short screws when it's not a security matter. But most of the time on any exterior door, you want to get rid of all these little short screws. So that looks like it in that bag. We'll go over here, take a look at our scrap metal situation. And we have some build-up here. All these boxes need to get, not that, but this right here. Our door closers that need to be sorted, old locks. And obviously I still have an old Marks in there. And yeah, door locks that just need to be emptied from jobs. Here's another one. So that is going to be about 30 or 40 minutes worth of work there. I've also got some sitting on the counter, but I got to clean that up before it starts getting overtaken the area there. And dump this out. This is another, this one looks like a McGuire Nicholas like that other bag, but it's actually a Craftsman. And this is a real deal Craftsman. You can't find these anymore. Now they suck, they tear up, but this one is an old school Craftsman. And it's showing its age, and it's getting some cracks in the interior, but overall, again, this was a heavier canvas. The crap that Sears and Craftsman sells nowadays would not hold up at all compared to how long this one's held up. So I'm just going to set that aside and plug my phone back in here. Get a little charge on the phone. Oh, excuse me. Alright, let's dump these screws in here, put these strike plates out there, and get into this. So there's got more scrap metal that's coming out of here. And debris. lots of debris. And some good stuff, like that strike plate right there. Polished brass ASI strikes, or ANSI, whichever one it is, whatever, is hard to keep in stock. It's great to put on doors that have a big gap because it kind of fills in the gap. Door core and just general debris. So what I'll probably do is not do this on camera because I know this video is stretching out a little bit, but I'm going to move some stuff around here. Let's move this here, move this here. And let's see, what can we put down? Let's put this down. That way we can keep track of what goes back in the bag. Alright. Crowbar. A thing for a hole checker. Measuring tape. Measuring stick. File. Chisels. Which, that's not for that one. That is for this one. Alright, couple of drill bits, hole saw drill bits, requisite pins and Sharpies, and so we got some strike plates for rim because I just did this the other day. Oh, check, let me show you this. So yeah, big spacers and stuff that come with these. That's not the spacer for that one, but I ran across this a couple of days ago.
Is this what I think it is?
Yep, it was what I thought it was. So yeah, that's interesting, huh? So these are going to go back in my weird strike plates kit in my van. And I say weird because it's an oddball situation. So I don't want to keep this with my regular strike plates because I don't really use them that often. So I have a weird strike plate box in the truck. And here's all those Yale keys. Am I even getting this? Yeah. Yale keys at the dude. To put all those in. So there's me I like a penny in brass there. Thanks, dude. Appreciate that. So let's put this in that bag that I just threw away, so it can be kept together until it gets in the truck. And then the rest of it is just screws. Most of it is just screws that I use to kind of reinforce strikes. Like instead of using, or latches, instead of using this in the latch, I go with a 1.5 or 5/8 inches, which will not poke through into the hole, but it kind of gives a little bit more stability to the edge of the door where the lock is, in theory. Anyway, I've seen a lot of doors kicked open where the short screws have the wood splits at the on the door itself where the latch is when it's kicked, and 9 times out of 10 when that wood splits, this little screw, there's nothing holding it in, so it wobbles around. So in theory, having a little bit longer screw going into the wood would reinforce it more. Maybe. I can't say I've ever seen a... Well, yeah, I'll take that back. I have seen one, but it was in poor shape. The door fit real bad, but a kicked open door with a little bit longer screws holding the latch in. I've only seen like one. Most all of them have the short screws. So obviously we get rid of these because they are replaced with longer. It was funny, I took a test one time for my access control, and one of the questions in the test was, oh shoot. Okay, so let's get all this stuff thrown back in this bag here. This is the kit that I grabbed when I'm working on strike plates and door locks mainly. So, hammer, chisels, pins, Sharpies, file, the marker for your back set, 2 1/8 inch hole, several spade bits, several other spade bits, and drill bits. Found this at a craft store. It's absolutely perfect, and I haven't been able to find it again. It was at Michael's, I think. I don't know what it was for, but heavy plastic, and it is perfectly sized for standard spade bits. Yeah, I'd love to find another one of those, or two. Pry bar, don't really use that a lot, but it is handy to have in the bag in case something happens and I have to lift the door, whatever. Alright, our stray bit, which is a pilot bit for the slade screws, so it gets used a lot, the heavier 3-inch screws. And my security bit set, which really isn't doing any good in here, and probably not supposed to live here, but it is, so I'm going to keep it in here for the time being, but it's getting kind of rusted. Let me hit that with a little lube. Those probably all need to come out and be tumbled and cleaned up. And grinder bit, I go through those fairly often. That is it in the little kit. And yeah. So that's that. And I guess I need to put screws in here. Paper towel wouldn't hurt. Found a good use for it. And that one other thing was my other can of bits. Where'd my other can of bits go? This one, which is a pretty important one. I'll probably do a separate video on that. It'll be part of my drill bits video. So, that is what I grab when I am working on stuff. Cleaners in there, dude. Which actually, now that I'm not using it, I might shift all that to this bag because it is a bit bigger. Yep, and I do have a customer coming in. Alright. Okay, let's wrap this up. Decided to go ahead and use my bigger bag here. Let me wipe it out with a little paintbrush. I need the room, so I'm going to brush it out. Start using it instead. the thing about room in a bag is the bigger the bag, the more stuff that you can carry, which is why I try to keep it small. So I do need room for a drill, I do need room for this, I do need room for an extra battery. So usually on where it's kind of hard, sometimes I'll grab this and this, but what I'm going to try to do is just have all this together, put things up in the right spots. And like this right here, this cheapy drill bit set that can come in handy. Drivers, tape, that other battery, and this actually goes in my mobile pinning kit. So really probably I'll leave this like this. And zip it up. And I need to take this home too. That's my charger from my backup battery, which hadn't been charged in about a week, so I probably need to give it a little trickle charge. So got that. And I didn't get a chance to go through this, but I've got a lot of different screws and strike plates in this bag. So for now, I'm going to stick these strike plates in there, put them back in the truck. And that'll give me something to do tomorrow while I'm watching Irma footage. Yeah. Keeping my fingers crossed for the Florida people. It's horrible. So I hope if you're in Florida and you're one of my subs, I hope you're, or even if you're not one of my subs, I hope you've evacuated, or I hope you're in a really tall, secure building. And if you decided to stay, then Godspeed. Thanks for watching, guys. And again, if you're a Floridian, sorry about all you're going through, but it's like somebody told me once, and I was actually in Florida when the guy told me this. I was on vacation, and this was when I was young. Daytona Beach. If you've ever been to Daytona Beach, it's very, very wide, diverse population of people there. And one of the locals came up to me, and he heard my accent. We were talking, and I barely remember this because I was young and probably drunk, I'm sure, on the beach. And he was like this hippie guy with long hair, dreadlocks, and hippie-ish clothing on. Remember, this was 20 years ago too. And he's like, "Dude, you got a wicked accent, man." I was like, "Hey." He's like, "Where are you from?" I was like, "Mississippi." And that year when it had happened, we had flooding from the Mississippi River. Had flooded real bad. Again, this was 20 years ago. I don't remember the exact what happened, but I remember it flooded the Delta pretty bad, which affected a lot of farmland. And so that had been in the news for several months before I'd gone down there. So I guess he had heard about that. But when I said Mississippi, he's like, "Dude, sucks about the flooding, man, but you know what they say? If you live on a river, it's gonna flood." And I was like, yeah, talking about the Mississippi River. So it's true. If you live on a river, it's gonna flood. If you live on a coast that's gets hurricanes, you're gonna have hurricanes. And this one's a wicked one. So if you're one of my Florida subs, be careful, be safe out there. And everyone else, y'all have a good day, and catch you next vid. Peace!